Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Moments of Magic. And we've had a few moments of magic on the way.
I would say so.
Oh my God, it's so funny. I've been having a few technical glitches in terms of my internet hasn't been working properly. So I told my son to connect the LAN cable to my computer, and he disconnected the modem, and it wouldn't work.
Oh man. So we both have our sons to thank or to blame for our moments of magic.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm so excited to have you on the call, Julia, and I just love everything that you create, and I follow a few of your classes, and I just love the very different awareness that you have about things. So
Thank you.
so what does moments of magic mean to you?
That's a great question. Well, I think it's a great name for a telesummit. I absolutely loved it when I read it, and I've been telling everybody I'm going on Moments of Magic, and I think it's such a great name. But I mean, for me, Moments of Magic actually ties into my title, really, really living, quite a bit because. Um, I don't even want to sound sort of like a fluffy spiritual person and say that in everything you can choose to have the magic of the moment or, the negative. But it's like there is this sense that it's like, we don't invite the level of beauty and possibility into our life the way that we could most of the time. And for me, it's like moments of magic is like, each of these calls is, everything is filled with moments of magic, and it's just your choice to go, okay, so what's actually possible here? Where is the magic? And what's it going to take for me to choose that over, being normal or having pain and suffering? It's like it is always a choice. So.
Wow, I love that. And what I also love is how, can you hear me, Julia?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So what I also love is how every speaker has a really unique way of looking at things. And
Right.
I'm so grateful to be connected by so many amazing facilitators, and to get, how did I get to be so lucky to have all your awareness show up?
Oh, thank you. I
So,
am very excited to be here. I always look forward to your telesummits. They're fantastic.
thank you. So, what's really, really living, Julia?
Um, well, I chose that topic because it just made me really happy. But basically, I wanted to talk about like my life has changed. I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. My life has changed so dynamically in the last year and a half, 2 years from using the tools of access consciousness that I'm at the point where everything that I do, everything that I choose feels it's like this like amazing roaring adventure. And I got married June 3rd of last year, and my husband's wife passed away 6 years ago. She had bipolar and actually took her life because of the intensity of the bipolar, and she thought she was a demon, and she thought it was going to be kinder to her family to take herself out. So that was my husband, Anthony. The two of them had 3 kids, and the kids are now 16, 14, 2 boys, and then Aria is a girl, and she's 8. So for me, it's like when I was, I fell in love with Anthony, and then all of a sudden I was faced with, wow, if you're going to be with this person, you're going to learn to be a mom at 23 years old. And I looked at it, and it went totally against everything that I thought I could do or thought was going to be the best choice, or like, I mean, that's a pretty big jump for anybody. And but I looked at the children, and I looked at the energy of it, and I remember sitting on the bed in Anthony's house, like 3 days after I'd met the kids, the very first time. And I looked at Aria, and I was just like, I love this being so much. Like, I just love her. I care about her. I've never, like, it was just like falling in love in a totally different way. And at that moment, I was like, I'm either going to be in her life or not be in her life and the boy's life. And I'm not going to hang around if I'm not going to stay here and commit to being with them. And I made that choice 3 days after I met them, because I knew you can't yank yourself in and out of kids' lives. So at that moment, I braced myself, and I felt the lightness of the future. And I was like, I'm doing it. I guess I'm becoming a stepmom at 23 years old. and I did it. And everything since I made that choice to get married and to become a mom has been so intense and magical and beautiful. And as I use the tools, it's like everything there's so much lightness and possibility in every moment. It's like I can be driving the kids to school, and I like to listen to classical music in the car in the morning, and I'm driving the kids to school, and it's like I feel like I'm on this amazing adventure. Like, I can feel the trees outside, the leaves on the trees outside, and the kids, and the energy and the intensity and the potency, and I'm just driving kids to school. But it's like to me, that's like really, really living. Is like, if you make the choice to have a life beyond this reality and choose whatever is the lightest, even if it seems like you're insane for choosing it, it's like you can have this really, really amazing adventure of living. So that's where the title came from.
I love it. I love it. I totally love it. Choice to live a life beyond this reality. Wow, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And so what is it, do you think, that changed, which allowed you to live this kind of life?
I think that I really started to get good at choosing things that were light and that matched the energy of a really, really expansive future, regardless of like how insane they seemed, or if I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, um, before that, I was living in Manitoba, where I grew up, which is a rural farm town. And well, I was living in the city, but near where I grew up and stuff. And I was so heavy every day. I was so tired every day. I was, and I was facilitating access. There was a lot going on. It was great. But at the same time, it was like there was still this heaviness in my world. And I'm like, I have to move. I'm like, I have to choose to live somewhere else. For me, that's what was, I knew was going to create the most. And my friend Daria had recently moved into a $3,000 apartment over the ocean. And I was like, $3,000 a month? I was making like $4,000 a month. That was like 3,000 was insane. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I can do it. And so I don't even know how I got the lease, but I had some people write me good reference letters, and I sort of lied about my income. And I got this $3,000 apartment over the ocean. And it was just because it matched the lightness. It's like I've been able to have this adventure because I'll choose whatever is light, even if it feels at the beginning like I'm like tearing my guts out or doing something totally insane. It's like when you can make these choices to create something that's really light, everything changes. Everything can become so great, but it takes a lot of courage. But nobody on this call would be here if they didn't have the courage that it took.
Wow.
So yeah, there's just so much adventure to be had, and sometimes you just have to choose things that other people can't choose, you know? It's too overwhelming for other people to choose certain things. And it's like, man, it doesn't have to be, you know, my examples are my examples, but it's like there's just so much living possible when you choose whatever's like, whatever it is. It doesn't even matter what it is.
Hmm. And then you can also ask for ease with that.
Yes, exactly. Which I was not always so smart to do that, Nilofer. That's a good point.
So tell us more, Julia. You've got us all, sitting at the edge, and what else? What next? What's coming next?
I don't know what's coming next for me, but I mean, yeah, because it is like making the big choices is, you know, really important. But for me, like, I don't know. There's just, there's just a lightness available, and it's like I really like through all of this, I really, really, really use the tools. Like I treated Access like it was a university degree. Like I would study Access, you know, 12 hours a day when I was awake, and the other, you know, 8 hours while I was sleeping, I would be running clearing loops. And so for me, it's like it didn't make sense to me where people would do Access sort of as a and I mean it's different for everybody, but it was like for me the results were so humongous that like I couldn't imagine not, you know, using the tools, listening to the classes, working to come up with the money to go to the classes. It was just there's just so much possible, and I really, really use the tools. Every time something wasn't working, I would, you know, sit down and go, what do I have to, like, what tool can I use? I'm changing this. If this isn't what I desire, I'm changing it. And for other people, you know, other people may have other modalities that also work for them, but whatever it is, it doesn't have to be Access, but it's like whatever it is for you that's working to make your life better. It's like, you know, commit to doing as much of that as you can. And I'll get to some clearing statements here. Am I allowed to do clearings right away, Nilofer? I'm sure I am.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. So, so all of the codes of assimilation, all of the refined judgments, all of the codes of assimilation, the refined judgments, the physical
Specific.
solidifications, which
And
is where you. Oh, am I losing you?
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. All of the physical solidifications, which is where you take other people's limitations and then physically put them into your body and your life, physical solidification, and codes of assimilation, which is where you assimilate to others' realities or try to get others to assimilate to your limitation. So, all of those that you have in regards to your future and what you know is possible, will you destroy and create all of that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all shorts, boys, and beyonds. So it's like, it's really just about creating your future. And for me, creating my future wasn't super easy at first because I was so busy making sure that I could even pay my bills and make my rent. And um, it's like, I it's like if you can make, even if it seems like you're going to lose out on things, you're not actually going to. But if you can look at the future and go ask the question, what, with this choice, what future am I creating? It's like what happens is if you live by that question, what future am I creating with this choice? It's like when the future shows up, then there's like this magical, it's like, it's almost like investing in in a savings or something, and then you get there and then you have all this money. It's like if you ask the question, what future will this create, and choose towards that, it's like when you get there, it's like there's things waiting for you. There's possibilities, there's joy, there's happiness, there's kind people. It's like whatever that is. If you like, I've run clearing statements 4 or 5 years ago, and like yesterday or now I'll go, oh my goodness, and I can almost feel how that clearing statement that I ran 4 or 5 years ago lightened something up so that I could receive it today. So it is all about creating for a greater future, and not always expecting things to show up immediately. They can and they will, but also look at what can I do now so that when I get to my future, there are things waiting for me there that I've been asking for.
Wow. I, Julia, there's a question which has come in, and
Yeah.
she says, I'm using the tools as much as I can, listening to radio and classes, and trust me, I'm really getting very agitated and not even making the money I was making. Can you help me?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, well, I will add to that. It's like, can she answer what did you do for a living? Where's your money coming from? I need a little bit more specifics.
Bhavna, do you want to come live and we can talk? Okay, I'll just promote you. Hold on. Okay. Hey. Hey, Bhavna.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is like I'm listening to my classes. I have done foundation 1.5 year back, and I'm
Cool.
practicing bars, but clients are like 1 or 2 per month or something. And
Mm-hmm.
my husband provides to me, and even in that, it's like so. And
Your
I also
husband
use,
works for you?
yeah, my husband works like
So where's your main form of income coming from? Like how do you pay rent
bars
and stuff?
practice. That it comes from my husband. But the thing is, like, I want to earn for myself. Like, I want to do the classes and everything.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is,
Are you personally earning more or less money per month than when you started Access?
less.
Okay. Where were you earning money from before you started the bars?
Uh, I was working for my friend. I was handling his Facebook page, postings and all that.
Okay. And then you chose to quit?
Yeah, I quit.
Okay. So, well, you actually ask a really good question, because this happens to a lot of us when we start Access. Um, but I had a bars practice and foundation, and I'm a certified facilitator. And what happened, what I chose at the beginning was I started and I had a lot of people in classes, and I had bars classes and things were going really well. I never did private clients. That was just not something I really enjoy doing personally, but some people do really well and love it. And at first, my classes were really busy and really exciting, and it was great. And then it kind of started to drop off. And one of the things that I realized was that I was trying to make the Access practice work, but it was the only thing I was trying to make work. And if you don't have more than 10 things going on at the same time, you're creating crap. And when you focus on one thing, it's like, have you ever been obsessed with a lover, or like seen somebody who's like obsessed with their boyfriend and they're like, my precious? and the boyfriend just wants to run away and be like, oh, get the fuck away from me, you crazy person. That's probably what your bars practice is saying to you right now. It's like, get away from me, give me some space. I'm not going to create myself. Go create something else. Leave me alone. But it's like, you have to be creating tons of things, doing the Facebook, doing the other things. It's like, I ask the question every day, no matter how full my life gets, I still ask, what else can I add to my life? Even when I'm like off the hook busy. Because it's like, I know that if I keep asking that, I'm in the constant creation of my life rather than micromanaging it and being like, my precious, I have to make this one thing perfect. Because it's never going to work. It'll never be perfect. It'll just get destroyed. Does that make sense?
Yes, now it does.
Okay, cool. You're like, I totally get it. And then the other thing, it's Bhavana. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yeah, Bhavana. That's so pretty. The other thing, Bhavana, is when I first started Access, I did a private session with Gary Douglas. And I just did a 30-minute private session. And he said to me in that session, I don't remember anything else from the session, really, except for this one thing. He said, you need to do the energy pull exercise every single day for 30 days or for 90 days. And
yeah, I saw your video of that.
Yeah, you did. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and did it, and you saw in the video, it created all of these amazing things, like amazing things that I had been asking for forever. I mean, I was 20 years old, living in this town in Canada, and I had this amazing access practice, but I pulled energy for it every single day. And so, I recommend doing the energy pulls every single day for 90 days as well as asking the question, what can I add to my life?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yes.
And just a plug, just a little quick shameless advertisement. I do have the 30 days of pulling energy class right now. We just finished day 8 out of 30. And we have this private Facebook group, and we get together every day and we pull energy on different topics. So today we pulled energy on like family members that we don't like. And yesterday it was on silliness and goofiness and things that we think are hilarious and getting more of that in our life. And the day before that it was orgasm and and money. And so it's like there's kind of different topics every day. And so you really get this sense of build this amazing muscle of what it is to pull energy. And right now there's like 270 people in the class. So it kind of creates this space where with that many people pulling at the same time, it's like it's hard to even have a barrier. It's like you learn so fast because there's so much energy and all these people together. So, and I'm not saying you have to join the club. I'm just saying like pulling energy has been a phenomenal gift to me. So,
Okay.
yeah, I highly recommend it in whatever way.
Sure.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You are welcome. All right. You can't see Nilofer's face. Are you still there, Nilofer? She's muted.
I was talking my words of wisdom. Muting.
I do that all the time.
Oh my God. I love that. I love your energy pulse exercise. I've seen a few of your videos and it's awesome. And I like that that thing about, obsessing over one thing. I mean, we do it so frequently and we don't even realize we are doing it, isn't it?
I know. We're really funny. And it is. It's like my sister said it best. My sister said this to me. She said, Julia, since you became a mom to 3 kids and are part of this this family, and Anthony's kids are just off the walls with energy. They are so energetic. They are so potent. They are so much fun. They are so much work. They're amazing kids. And my sister said to me, and so it's like I have my business and then I have my kids and I'm traveling and like my life is so full and there's so much going on all the time. And my sister said, Julia, since you became a mom, she's like, you have all this mayhem and craziness around you all the time. You're finally calm and happy for the first time in your life. And I'm like, it's so true. I'm finally calm because there's finally enough going on, the constant mayhem, and I love it. So it's like, you never know what you have to add to your life to make you happy.
So we have another question, Julia. Can you explain more on energy pull, how it is not actual pulling and being the pull?
How it is what and pulling and being a pull?
How
it is not actual pulling, right? Well, it is actual pulling, but it's just with energy. It's not physically pulling something across the room, but it is pulling. So remember, you decided it's not actual pulling. Will you destroy and then create it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9 POD and POC, shorts, boys and beyond. So what you want to do is, and you can start practicing this by closing your eyes. But what happens is so let's just do a little practice run here. So close your eyes. And now put the energy of the future you would like to have in front of you. Put that energy in front of your body. Now what you want to do is take the energy of the entire universe and pull all the energy of the whole universe through the universe, through the future in front of your body, and then through your body. And just keep pulling. Keep pulling that energy. Now that little trickles go out to all of the people who can assist you and contribute to you creating the future you truly desire. And now, once you've let the trickles out to thousands of people, pull energy through the whole universe, through the ball, and through you. And you want to pull until you actually feel vulnerable. And have your barriers down completely. And what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to create a reality totally beyond this reality with total ease? Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9 POD, POC, shorts, boys and beyond. All right, you can open your eyes now. So that's pulling. And it's a tool that has really created a lot in my life, and it's very easy. It can feel a little bit elusive and difficult at the beginning because it's like you're used to trying to do something physical, but this is actually building that energetic muscle. And you don't want to picture the energy. You just want to go pull and just choose it rather than picturing it. So, yeah. You there, Nilofer?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like it's so tangible to me, that
Yeah.
that pulling energy. Like one of the ways in which I pull energy is when I drive. So
Really?
I used to drive to Dubai, which is about 100 kilometers from here. And I would
Right?
never drive in the fast lane because I was so scared, of driving in the fast lane. I would be in the, slow lane until one day I
Yeah.
started pulling energy. And now I like drive in the fast lane and then I weave here and there and there and there just because I'm pulling energy all the time.
Watch out! There's Nilofer. She's pulling today. So funny. I love it.
All the weird ways,
Oh,
all the weird and wonderful ways in which we do the energy pulls. It's just amazing.
totally. Driving's not something I've ever considered with energy pulls, but it applies to your entire life, so why not? That's awesome.
Wow. So what other tools do you use, Julia?
What other tools do I use? Okay, well, I do pulling energy. I ask, what can I add to my life? A lot. I pull energy every day. Um, I um, I get my bars run 3 times a week usually. I'll take time no matter what I have to do. Bars always comes first. And then the other thing I ask a lot is the question, what do I truly desire? This question is really powerful. I'll give you an example. So I have always loved the energy of the ocean, of the beach, of yachts, of anchors, of nautical things, of the fish in the ocean, and just that sort of beach, the lighthouses, the harbors. That energy is just orgasmic to me. I love that energy of like a little beach town on Cape Cod. You know what I mean? And I grew up in Manitoba, in Canada, and there's no oceans. It's right in the middle of the country, and it's very, very cold in the wintertime. And so I didn't even know where I would find this energy. You know what I mean? I didn't even know who lived like that. It was just from storybooks. It's just something that I just love that energy. And, the seagulls and all that stuff. So I started asking, and I didn't even realize that this was a part of what I truly desired. I had no idea. I just started asking the question, what do I truly desire? And I asked it as many times a day as I thought to ask it, sometimes once a day, sometimes 30 times a day, just as I'm going through my day. What do I truly desire? And I never answered it. I didn't go, well, this. No, I just asked. And so then I decided I was going to move to Vancouver. And I didn't even think about the fact that it was on the ocean. I didn't think about the fact that it was a nautical place. So I moved, and the apartment that I got I didn't even think about this. I was just like, well, I have to leave Manitoba, and Daria lives there, and it's a phenomenal apartment. So I moved there, and all of a sudden I woke up one day, and I'm like, oh my God, I have exactly what I desire. I'm like, I live on the ocean. I had floor to ceiling windows. I lived in the marina where there were yachts. There was this amazing restaurant literally 1 block from my house that was on a floating dock in the ocean that I loved eating at, called Cardero's. I ate there all the time. It was magical. And then in my bedroom, which had floor to ceiling windows overlooking the ocean, I put my canopy bed that my mom and I built that was fit for a princess. And I just sat there and I was like, how did this happen? I'm like, how did I create this? But don't do that. Don't go into the how. But I was just like, oh my gosh. But it was like, it came to me with ease. Well, it didn't necessarily come with ease. The first few months I was living there, I was like, This is insane. Why did I do this? This is so dumb. I should just move out. I'm a total idiot. I have no way to pay this rent. I was $33,000 in debt. But I was like, God, I just love living here and it's so light. And then my income increased from $3,000 a month to $10,000 a month. So it's like, and Gary says this. He says, if you live in a place that truly nurtures your body and being, the money will show up for you to pay for it. And I had heard them say that years ago. And when I heard him say that, I thought, I can do it. If I move here and I know my body and my being are nurtured, the money's going to show up. And I just closed my eyes and I leaped and I judged the shit out of myself for about 3 months. And then the money showed up 3 months later. So a huge tool for me is asking, what do I truly desire?
Wow, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true, you know, how these places, they contribute to your life, and in totally amazing ways.
Yeah, they do. And then after I lived in Vancouver, I still asked for that energy of the ocean and the beach. And now I live on the other ocean, on the East Coast in South Carolina in the United States. So it's like, by asking for that energy and being willing to choose Vancouver, I only actually lived in that apartment for 8 months. But it's like, by willing to choose that energy there, it's like I was able to, with like, have that energy over here on the East Coast as well. And now I still have that energy of the boats and the yachts and the nautical, but it's actually the East Coast instead of the West Coast, which I actually prefer the East Coast because it's more southern and more sort of mansions and like the big homes rather than like the trendiness of Vancouver. So yeah, it's just really, it's like the tools work, and but it does take this level of trust in yourself. Like, you know, Dane talks about when he moved to Houston, it was really light to move to Houston, and for the first few months that he was living there, every day he hated it. He's like, why did we do this? I hate Houston. It's just awful. And it's like, but what happens is, if you choose something totally outside of the zone of your limitation, and there's no logical way that you see it's going to work out, it's like you make this choice way out here. Like, say your zone of limitation is here, and you make this choice that's like way out here. What happens is you make that choice, so you've made the choice to expand yourself to that size, to way bigger, because you chose beyond your zone of limitation. But what happens is, as you're catching up to yourself and as you're expanding and creating more to catch up to the big choice you made, that can be really, really uncomfortable as you're expanding, because you know you don't see logically how it's going to show up or how it's going to work. But and everybody in your life thinks you're totally insane, as people in my life thought I was. But it's like, if you trust in yourself and you trust that you've made a choice to create greater, it's like one day it'll all come together, and then you'll be far more expanded in every way than you were before you made that crazy choice.
Wow. And I think all of us have done it at some point in our life, for sure.
Totally.
Because as you were talking, I could remember those kind of choices that I had made, and totally those choices have expanded my universe.
Totally. Yeah, you always make crazy choices too. You're a wild woman.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
true.
I mean, look at what you've created in your life. You know, and like, how many times have you read the money workbook?
I think I've done it 60 times now.
Yeah, like the choice to do that is like that's a crazy choice. And you know, it's like, there's not a huge risk in that, you know, financially. I'm sure you've taken a lot of other risks, but it's like just the choice to go, I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to like actually shoot for 100, and I'm actually going to do this. It's like, it changes your whole life. And I'm sure your entire life has changed by reading that book 60 times.
Absolutely, totally, it has. And the other thing that I wanted to actually point out, Julia, is that it's not about just those the choices. You actually have put in your due diligence. Like, you took on access as a university, and you were doing like 12 hours of access in the day and 8 hours in the night as you slept,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
sometimes in the beginning, that is what is required.
Yeah.
That
And
is
it's
what
not like I did get results at first, but not a lot of results. And there were so many nights where I was like, I laid up and I was like, this is dumb. I'm in a cult. I'm quitting this. And then the next day I'd be like, okay, that's okay. No, I got to keep going. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's not like I was just this fairy who was like, I'm going to use the tools and everything's going to turn out perfectly. It's like, no, I worked hard every day. And, I had other jobs. I bartended and, did other things because I was focusing on access so much. I was like, my precious. I was like, okay, I have to let this go for a while. But yeah, like totally. It's like it didn't just happen overnight. And I had so much doubt and fear at the beginning.
and then when you keep using it, and you build it up and you build it up, and then it's that snowball rolling, isn't it?
Totally. Totally. Exactly.
And also, it's that willingness to do whatever is required. Like how many times do like, one of the things I've started doing these days is I look at what's working or not working, and I just create clearing loops, and I'm playing them all the time. Like
Yeah.
I created these bonus loops on magic for the telesummit, and I have it running in my phone right now also, while we are speaking. so
Yeah.
so all these crazy things, you don't know what it's changing where, right?
No, like, totally, totally. And like I said before, it's like something that I cleared like 5 years ago might show up today. It's like it's not like it's just gonna show up instantly, but that thread, is through your life, and each clearing statement is just so, yeah, like you said, it's so powerful.
And the other thing that I love about you, Julia, is that you actually take those things that Gary and Dane say, and you use them actually.
Yeah.
How many times do we ask questions in class, and then they give us an answer, and you just it's almost like you resist it and you forget about it.
Yeah, totally. And oh my God, can I tell you guys a funny story?
Go for it.
So, and I know how much time do we have left? Just a couple minutes?
5 minutes more.
5 minutes. So I'll try to get this in under 5 minutes. Um, so Gary, one of the things that Gary gives out that people almost never use is if you ask him, he'll give you a line to tell somebody in your life to make to expand your relationship with them, or whatever. So I asked Gary for a line to give my dad so that he would um so that he would, how do I put it? um I can't, oh, my brain just went blank. So that my dad would have more peace, with my relationship, because I was 23 and Anthony was 46. And Gary said, well, what if you told your dad that Anthony was just like him? And I said this to my dad, and I came to my dad, and normally I wouldn't have told my dad anything about me dating Anthony. But I was like, I really like this guy. And Anthony's like, you're going to have to tell him sooner or later. And I'm like, let me just put it off. Let me put it off. And Anthony's like, no, you got to tell him. And so I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm dating this guy and he's 46. And my dad's like, but you're 23. And he like starts counting on his fingers. He's like, that means when you're 46, he's going to be 92. And I'm like, no, Dad. Just because he's double my age now doesn't mean he's always going to be double my age. You got your math wrong. and, but I said, you know what, Dad? He's such a kind man, and he's just like you. And my dad never liked a single guy I brought around, never liked a single guy in my life. And him and Anthony get along so well, and he has total respect for Anthony. And Anthony is also somebody who's really, really honest. So it's like, but I resisted saying that to my dad for about 6 months. 6 months I resisted using that tool that Gary gave me. But it's like when you actually go ahead and use that thing that you think you can't say to somebody, it's like it actually works. And then it creates this incredible peace and possibility in the relationship. So, yeah, just a different, it's a different reality. And it's like, we won't say those things, because I was like, why would I ever say that to my dad? Why would I tell him that they're alike? I'm like, that sounds incest. That sounds crazy. But it's like, that's what he needed to hear, to know that his little girl was taken care of by somebody who was like him. So,
wow, I love that. I love that, Julia. So, Julia, I don't want to finish this conversation. It's so juicy, but we're coming to the end of our time together. But before we go, I'd love for you to talk about the package you've put together. And I love that package. I was on one of the calls. I mean, I took it after it, and I have to tell you, it has changed my life in a lot of different ways.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, I made the package a 3-part series of some calls that I did over the past 2 years, actually. The first one was, a year and 3 months ago. First one was in December. And it's this series of calls called, Are You Willing to Be in Demand? And if you're trying to create any kind of business, you have to be totally willing to be in demand. But we actually resist being in demand because we don't want to be responsible if things fail. And we don't want to constantly be, the source for everybody else. But if you want to be as successful as you can be, you have to be willing to be the source for everyone else. Just like Gary talks about how he was not willing to be the guru. And it was only when he was willing to be the guru did everything in his life change. So when you're willing to be totally in demand, it's like you actually are so full and so creative that everybody wants a piece of you and wants to know what you have that they don't have, and wants to know what you have going on. So it's an amazing series. Each call is like getting punched in the face by a big Italian man about 15 times, because it's so intense. Because we have so much resistance to that level of success, and we think that if everybody demands of us that we have to deliver, that we have to do what they're demanding of us. But what happens is, when you're that demanded, everybody wants a piece of you. You get to call the shots. You get to say yes. You get to say no. And you don't always have to give to people when they ask for you to give to them or contribute, or they need something from you, which is something people have a lot of trouble with, not contributing when they're asked to contribute. You have to be willing to do what works for you. So it's just, the series is amazing whether you have business or not. But there's Demanded Part 1, and you get the call, the clearing loop, and the PDF, and then parts 2, and the call, the clearing, and the PDF, and then the advanced Demanded, which is the call, the clearing, and the PDF. So it's an awesome package, and I'm glad that you asked me for a package, because making packages is fun. So thanks, Nilofer.
And I love the package you've created.
I think there's a bonus clearing loop in there about being a leader or money or something. I can't remember what it is. There's an awesome clearing loop in there. So
thank you so much, Julia. I have to now cut it short because I have the next call in 3 minutes.
Okay, you go. Thank you guys so
much. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been brilliant, and I wish that I could have you for some more time. Maybe I'll call you again.
Okay, anytime.
Thank Thank you,
All
Julia.
right,
Thank you,
bye,
everyone. And
everyone.
see you on the next call with Cass in just 2-3 minutes. Bye.
Bye.